y'all, so today's video is going to be a little different. It's not going to be a recipe or what I eat in a day or anything like that. I'm going to be telling you guys sort of my journey to veganism, my vegan journey, my food journey, just that whole thing. So I want to start with just like a brief history, or I'll try to make it brief, you'll know I ramble, a brief history on my relationship with food. So from a very young age, my relationship with food has always been kind of skewed a little bit, not really the best. So when I was 7, my father passed away, and I didn't really know how to express it at that young of an age, like how to express how I was feeling. So I chose to take the route of eating my feelings, essentially. So not talking about it, not really voicing how I was feeling to other people, but just kind of eating to fill a void. And that led to some pretty negative eating habits, a pretty poor relationship with food, as well as some pretty negative feelings about myself, like feelings that I had about myself, as far as body image issues and weight issues and health problems and things like that. So from about the time that I was around 8 or 9 to about 14 or 15, when I was a freshman in high school, I was pretty overweight for my age, for my height, all of those things, and reached my highest weight, which was around 198, 199, basically 200 pounds at the age of 14. And through that time, mostly within middle school and a little bit through high school and a little bit after, I had binge eating disorder. Now, this is sort of a lesser known eating disorder. Many people know about anorexia and bulimia as kind of the main ones. Binge eating disorder, I feel like, isn't really looked at in our society as a really big issue because we are a society of excess. We, as a collective, eat too much food and want too much and need to own too many things. So it wasn't something that was so obvious to family or friends. I also didn't really ever binge in front of people because it was something I was very ashamed of. I would go through just like random moments of being home alone, maybe after school, and I wouldn't necessarily be hungry, but it's like this voice would click in my head that just said eat, like eat whatever. And of course I didn't binge on apples and like, you know, sweet potatoes or anything. I didn't binge on things that my body would appreciate. I binged on things that I knew would make me feel horrible because I wasn't feeling good about myself. Anytime I felt the urge to binge, it was because I was in a really bad headspace, really bad emotional place, and it was almost as if I was trying to punish my body or to make my body feel as bad as my brain felt. I don't know. So I would go through like snack cakes or donut sticks, or like Nutter Butters or cookies or pizzas, like frozen foods, ice cream, like just eating in excess until it felt like food was just building up to my neck. And it was just so painful, and it happened so often in middle school, and I would literally I would feel like such a disgusting individual afterwards, and I would just cry, or I would go to sleep, and I had really bad stomach pains and really bad digestion and obviously weight gain. And with the binging also came lesser moments of restriction. So I would binge and I would feel horrible about it because I just ate all this food, and then the next day I would either not really eat at all during school, or I would eat very, very small amounts. I would be starving. I'd be so hungry, but I would push it to the side. I would like push that feeling to the side and just be like, I ate so much yesterday, I can't eat anything today. And at the age of like 11 or 12, that's not something that should be going through your mind. That's not something that should be going through your mind at any age, but at that young an age, that shouldn't be something that you're even conscious or aware about or thinking about. But I had those moments, and because I restricted for the whole day, then I would binge afterwards because I hadn't eaten food. Eventually, I started getting some pretty serious health issues. I developed anemia, I had low blood sugar, and I was pre-diabetic. And that was sort of when my brain clicked and said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, I don't want to be like this anymore. I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to feel really lethargic and tired all the time. I don't want to binge and overindulge on foods. I don't want to hide things from my family. I got sick of being really unhappy with myself, with my body, with my eating habits, with my emotions, everything. And so then I went on this metabolic diet, which briefly went over how to healthfully feed your body and, you know, percentages of calories that you need in your body, just basic knowledge of what you should be putting into your mouth, you know, like what foods you should be eating. And granted, the diet that I did to lose the initial weight was not really the healthiest. It kind of had elements of restriction, and there was like a pill that was involved, like a supplement you would take in the morning, like something to speed up your metabolism and lower your appetite, and you would have to eat on a saucer or a certain amount of food. So there were elements of restriction, but I guess it was a good jump start. And I lost a pretty significant amount of weight in a relatively short amount of time, which is why I say it was pretty unhealthy. In about 3 months or so, I lost 50 pounds, which is a lot of weight to lose in not a lot of time. So I don't recommend that. We'll fast forward to March 2014? March 2014? Yeah, March 2014. Yeah, so leading up to that month, I had ideas about eating less meat or being a vegetarian, because I've never really liked meat. Like when I ate meat as a kid and growing up, I ate it because I thought it was something you had to eat to have like a full meal. And so I was always one picking kind of at chicken wings and it wasn't my favorite part of the meal. I loved rice, I loved vegetables, fruit, you know, all that stuff, potatoes. I didn't really enjoy meat, so it was never really a big thing. So I was like, you know what, I could be a vegetarian. I can go vegetarian. So March 2014, I decided to go pescatarian. So I was still eating fish and seafood, just wasn't eating poultry, beef, or pork. And then in June of that same month, either June or July, I went to New Orleans, so I ate chicken. And pretty much for the rest of 2014, I ate chicken and fish. And on Christmas that year, or Thanksgiving that year, I had Swedish meatballs, so one little bit of beef, and I had, you know, smoked turkey neck on my plate with my collard greens and my rice, and I was eating it, and I took it upon myself to like break it. I don't know why, but I'm gonna assume it was the esophagus or the larynx, that was called, like breathing tube, whatever. One of those two tubes in the neck. When I broke it, it kind of like flopped. So gross. It flopped out, and I was so disgusted because at that point, it was too real. Out of everything I've ever eaten in my entire life, animal-wise, that was too real. You know, like bones bothered me, veins, fat, skin, all of those things we as people have. So it was real in that sense, but the esophagus was too far. So I said no. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. So I said, I can't do it anymore. Sorry, I had to fix my camera. And I said at that point, on January 2nd, 2015, I said, I'm not eating any more meat. I can't do it. It's gross. It's weird. I don't even really like it. There's no point. So I stopped eating meat in January 2015, and I had given thought to going vegan. But my thought process with it, I still thought that veganism was really expensive. It was really hard to do. It was something that you had to put all of your focus on in your life, basically, in order to be consistent with it and actually enjoy it. So I said that I would go vegan maybe when I was like a real adult. Like when I had a family, when I had my own home, at least when I was finished with college, then maybe I could think about veganism because I could afford it. Of course, I did more research and shortly realized that was not the case. It's not expensive. It's not expensive. All right? It's not expensive. So I stopped eating meat, was slowly transitioning on cutting out dairy and eggs. I was reading more about vegetarianism, and of course with looking at vegetarian recipes on Pinterest or YouTube or Google or anything, vegan recipes also pop up in that realm. And I started to kind of look more at the food options and be like, this is super possible. Like, I don't have to wait for this. This is actually really easy. And then of course there are videos on how to save money with being on a vegan diet. So only buying like staples, potatoes, rice, beans, those things like that are not expensive, buying in season, things like that. So I became more interested in it. Of course, I started watching documentaries, the normal documentaries, Forks Over Knives, Cowspiracy, and of course Earthlings. And Earthlings was kind of my like final turning point in saying, you know what, I'm going to go vegan right now. I cried the entirety of the movie. It really affected me. And June 2nd, I went vegan. June 2nd, 2015, I went vegan. Or I decided to go vegan. And I can honestly say it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I have such a different relationship with food now than I did before. Food is such an enjoyable part of life. Yes, it is a necessity. You need food to survive, but you also should enjoy it. You know, it's at every event, every like meet up with friends or family dinners, baby showers, weddings, funerals, every event you can think of, holidays, you know, there's always food. You know, food is such a emotional part of life, such a part of life that's experienced at pretty much any event that you go to. And I wanted to enjoy that food, and I wanted to also feel good about the choices I was making and about the things that I was putting on my plate and putting into my body. And eating a plant-based, vegan, whole foods, whatever you want to call it, diet has done that for me. And I can now eat huge plates of food and not feel bloated or grossed out or embarrassed about how much I've eaten. And of course, I still eat some, you know, junk food or processed foods. I don't eat it as often because it literally does nothing for me. I don't feel good after, like it tastes good because it's sweet or it's savory or, you know, it just feels, I don't know the word, bad for you. But I don't feel like energized afterwards. I don't feel better after eating junk food. I just kind of eat it because it's there. But when I make a meal or I go out to eat and find a really good vegan meal, I just feel good. I don't feel super full. I feel full and satiated, but I don't feel stuffed. I don't feel bloated. I don't get the itis, you know, I don't get tired and exhausted after. Sorry, my camera cut out. But I was saying, you know, I still eat junk food like a normal person. I don't eat it as often. I also don't feel like I have a craving for it where I feel like I have to eat it and I have to eat 3 or 4 of the same sort of snack or a whole box or something at once. Basically, I just wanted this video to allow you guys to get to know me a bit more and know how I got to this point, but also just to kind of give you guys a thought if you're in the same space that I was. You know, if you have issues with your weight or with the image of your body, how you see yourself, with your emotions, if you notice that you're an emotional eater and it's not foods that are good for you, maybe try incorporating more vegetables in general in your life, whether you eat meat or not. Eating more vegetables than you do meat is so beneficial to the body, no matter what kind of diet or lifestyle you prescribe to. And you know, for me, going vegan was just such an amazing decision because, like I said, I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want, for the most part, without feeling guilty about it. And that's such a relieving feeling, to not be anxious about food and to not be sad about food or worried about what it's going to do to my body, because I know it's going to do great things for it. And so if this video has made any of you feel better about eating a healthier lifestyle, or has made you feel a little closer to me, then I've done my job. You know, I've let the message of the video get out there. Even though I ramble a lot and scramble up my words, I hope you guys, you know, enjoyed this sort of session. But I'm going to end the video here. So if you guys enjoy this type of video where I'm not cooking, I'm not showing you guys what I ate in a day, but more of a just, you know, laid back conversation style, then give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you want to see anything specifically that you want me to talk about, anything that we can have a conversation about, and I will definitely do that. Make sure you guys subscribe as well so that you can see more of these videos, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thank you guys so much. Bye.